where we're having issues with our delivery partners. Like, I mean, that's just been a nightmare across the US because.
And you're talking about the 3PL, third party logistics delivery?
Yeah, because as I mentioned earlier about the drivers that had retired and them not being replaced, you also then have this scramble.
You've talked about this the last time, so that was fascinating. I didn't know about that. So there are a certain number of drivers that kind of leave the profession every year, and they are replaced by a new set of drivers that receive their licenses. But I think you mentioned for 2020, those driving schools were closed, and we didn't receive that new influx of drivers to replace the ones that had retired.
Yeah, exactly. And then what you had, Belinda, is that you have a case of a big scramble to get new drivers in, and drivers that are just not that good, right? And don't have the pride in the job that previous drivers would have had. And we've seen that in the UK, we've seen it in Ireland, we've seen it in the US. Anyone that could drive a truck was being drafted in to drive a truck. And that's the way it was. And when it came to handling goods, especially around insulation products, the care wasn't taken the way it used to be because drivers just didn't realize how fragile the material was, nor did they care because they were so busy doing so many runs. They were always in a hurry. So you have these drivers that aren't as good coming in now doing these deliveries and then doing a bad job. That's a reflection then on the company that sold them the material, to the customer. So that's an issue as well, but that's starting to improve again. 3PLs or even logistic companies across the US, it's kind of like the Wild West, when it comes to shipping goods around the US, because, we'd have issues. I think I might have mentioned this to you before, whereby, we'd be delivering a pallet of rigid board insulation to a customer and the price would be X to have it delivered. And they would take our pallet off the truck and they would weigh it to make sure the dimensions were right and the weight is right, and that's fine. And the next thing, we get a bill in the post. It could be $150 on top of the shipping cost because they decide to take it off the truck and weigh it, and the weight is right and the dimensions are right. Like, as I've said to them before, if it was heavier than what we said it was, or the dimensions were different to what we said it was, well then fine, charge me $150. But don't charge me $150 if everything I've said is correct and the weights are correct and everything is right. That's just you charging me an extra $150 for the shipment.
Yeah.
And there's no argument. They just charge you. And if you don't pay it, next time you just won't pick up your order.